Dear beautiful and radiant viewers, welcome to the 22nd episode of Art and Dharma, where we will talk about the connections or interplay between art and Dharma. My name is Victor Gabriel and I am a lecturer at Sakya Buddha University in Santa Ana, California. You can reach me through my email awake.star.sky@gmail.com. In episode 22, I would like to discuss the Kakara or monastic staff, their iconography, their role in Buddhist cosmology, their devotional practices and significance. The monastic staff is known as Xizang in Chinese, or Shakujo in Japanese, or Kasil in Tibetan. These names reference the monastic staff as a pewter staff to which metal rings are attached at the top. It is traditionally carried by Buddhist monks, particularly in East Asian Buddhism. Traditionally, it is used as a noise maker to announce a monk's presence and frighten away animals. It was adapted for use as a rhythmic instrument during chanting and sutra recitation in certain forms of Buddhism, and for use as a weapon in other forms of Buddhism. It is also known as the tiger pewter staff or husi, due to its traditional use of driving away predatory animals. The earliest recorded description of the monastic staff is in the writings of the Chinese pilgrim monk Yi Jing, who traveled between China, Indonesia, and India in the years 671 to 695 CE. The monastic staff is a traditional Buddhist staff that holds a profound significance in various Buddhist traditions. Its symbolism spans from the symbolic meaning to the practical uses in monastic life and ritual practices. In this episode, we will examine the historical background of the monastic staff, its symbolic representations, its role in monastic practices, and its impact on Buddhist ritual and art. Historical background. The monastic staff origin traced back to early Buddhist India. It is often associated with early Buddhist monks and ascetics who use it as a walking staff. The term karakara is derived from the Pali word for staff or cane and literally translates to a dented staff or staff with a knotted end. In its traditional form, the monastic staff is typically a wooden staff adorned with metal rings or bells that produce a distinct sound. Historically, the monastic staff was used by wandering monks and ascetics who traveled extensively. Its purpose was both practical and symbolic. Practically, it served as a support for walking and a means to signal the monk's presence. Symbolically, it represented the monk's renunciation of worldly attachments and his commitment to the path of enlightenment. Symbolic representations. The monastic staff holds multiple layers of meaning in Buddhism: renunciation and asceticism. The monastic staff is a symbol of renunciation. By carrying this staff, monks and ascetics signal their departure from conventional life and their dedication to spiritual practice. The staff's simple and unadorned nature reflects the ascetic's rejection of material wealth and sensory pleasures. Spiritual authority and guidance. The monastic staff represents spiritual authority and guidance. In many Buddhist traditions, The staff is carried by esteemed teachers and spiritual leaders. Its presence signifies the bearer's role in guiding and instructing others on the path to enlightenment. Protection and support. As a physical support, the monastic staff symbolizes the protection and support that the Buddhist path provides. It serves as a reminder that the path to enlightenment, while challenging, is supported by the teachings and practices of Buddhism. Manifestation of compassion. The sound of the bells or rings on the monastic staff can be seen as an expression of compassion, and the sound is intended to alert others to the monk's presence, promoting mindfulness and ensuring that the monk does not inadvertently disturb others while walking or crush tiny insects or animals while walking. Role in monastic practices. The daily life of monks. Monks and sometimes nuns may carry the monastic staff during their alms round. The sound of the bells helps to announce their arrival and alerts their presence to the lay monastic community. This practice not only facilitates the collection of alms, but also serves as a reminder to lay people of the monastic community's role in upholding and teaching the Dharma. Ceremonial use. In certain rituals and ceremonies, the monastic staff is used as a ceremonial object. It is sometimes employed in processions or during important ritual occasions, symbolizing the presence of spiritual authority and reinforcing the sacred nature of the event. Training and discipline. The monastic staff is also used in monastic training as a tool for cultivating mindfulness and discipline. The practice of walking with the monastic staff helps the monastics develop a sense of balance and poise, both physically and spiritually. Impact on Buddhist ritual and art. Ritual significance. The monastic staff is often depicted in Buddhist art and iconography, especially in the representation of historical monastic figures such as the Buddha and important bodhisattvas. Its presence in the artwork underscores its role as a symbol of spiritual authority and commitment. For example, as an implement of the Earth Treasury Bodhisattva, where the monastic staff symbolizes his compassion and authority. Please see episode 4. Artistic representations. In Buddhist art, the monastic staff is depicted in various forms, from simple wooden staves to intricately designed ceremonial objects. These artistic representations highlights its importance and the reverence it commands within the Buddhist tradition. Cultural adaptations. Over time, the monastic staff has been adapted in various Buddhist cultures. In East Asia, for example, it is sometimes represented in the form of a more elaborately adorned staff, reflecting regional artistic styles and interpretations. The monastic staff is intimately connected to renunciation. In Buddhism, renunciation is the determination to be free from samsara, the cycle of birth and death and suffering. The fruit of frequent and deep reflection on death will be that we ourselves find ourselves emerging often with a sense of disgust from our habitual patterns. We find ourselves increasingly ready to let go of our patterns, and in the end we are able to free ourselves from them as smoothly as the masters say, as drawing a hair from a slab of butter. This renunciation that we will come to has both sadness and joy in it. sadness because we realize the futility of our old ways, and joy because of the greater vision that begins to unfold when we are able to let go of them. This is no ordinary joy. It is a joy that gives birth to a new and profound strength, a confidence and abiding inspiration that comes from realization that we are not condemned to our habits, that we can indeed emerge from them, that we can change and grow more and more free. Intellectually, renunciation refers to the voluntary giving up of worldly attachments and desires in pursuit of spiritual goals. It is central practice for those seeking liberation from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Renunciation is not merely about physical abandonment, but involves a profound shift in one's mental and emotional attachments. Philosophical foundations of renunciation. Understanding suffering central to Buddhism is the recognition of dukkha, often translated as suffering or dissatisfaction. The Four Noble Truths articulate that suffering arises from craving and attachment. Renunciation addresses the root cause of suffering by reducing and eventually eliminating these cravings and attachments. Impermanence. Buddhism teaches that all phenomena are impermanent and constantly changing. Attachment to transient things leads to suffering because they are not stable or enduring. Renunciation involves recognizing this impermanence and letting go of attachments through transient pleasures, possessions, and even experiences. Non-self. The concept of non-self or no permanent self is another cornerstone of Buddhist philosophy. Beliefs in a permanent self or ego lead to attachments and suffering. Renunciation helps practitioners understand that the self is a collection of changing elements, and letting go of attachment supports the realization of this insight. Practical applications in monastic life. In monastic Buddhism, renunciation is manifest in the lifestyle and vows, big and small, of monks and nuns. They renounced worldly life and possessions and to fully dedicate themselves to spiritual practice. This includes living in celibacy, and often adopting a life of poverty. Monastic path embodies a formalized approach to renunciation, reflecting a commitment to the path of enlightenment. Vinaya. The Vinaya is a set of rules and guidelines for monastic conduct, which includes extensive codes on renunciation and self-discipline. These rules are designed to support the monastic practitioners in their pursuit of enlightenment by minimizing distractions and promoting focus. Meditative practice. Renunciation is also evident in meditative practice. Through meditation, practitioners work to overcome attachments to thoughts, emotions, and sensory experiences. This internal form of renunciation helps achieve greater mental clarity and equanimity. Renunciation in lay life. For lay practitioners, renunciation is often practiced through the simplification of lifestyle and developing mindfulness. This can involve reducing material desires, cultivating contentment with less, and focusing on spiritual development. Lay practitioners might practice generosity, ethical behavior, and mindfulness as forms of renunciation that align with their daily lives. detachment from craving. Lay Buddhists are encouraged to practice detachment from craving and excessive desires. This involves recognizing and letting go of attachment to wealth, status, and sensory pleasures, understanding that these do not lead to lasting happiness. Ethical conduct. Renunciation is closely linked to ethical conduct, which forms a key aspect of the Buddhist path. By adhering to ethical precepts such as refraining from harmful actions, lay practitioners engage in a form of renunciation that purifies their actions and intentions. Ultimate significance of renunciation. The goal of renunciation is to achieve liberation from samsara, the cycle of birth and death characterized by suffering. Renunciation helps in overcoming ignorance, craving, and attachment, which are the causes of samsara. By renouncing worldly attachment, practitioners can attain nirvana, the state of ultimate freedom and peace. Cultivating wisdom. Renunciation is closely tied to the cultivation of wisdom. As one let go of attachments, they gain a clearer understanding of the nature of reality, including impermanence and the non-self of all phenomena. This wisdom is essential for breaking free from the cycle of suffering. Enhancing compassion. By renouncing selfish desire, practitioners can develop greater compassion and altruism. Renunciation fosters a shift from self-centeredness to the focus on the well-being of others, aligning with the Buddhist idea of universal compassion. Renunciation in Buddhism is a multifaceted practice with profound implications for both monastic and lay practitioners. It is rooted in the understanding of suffering, impermanence, and non-self, and manifests in various forms, from the formal vows of monastics to the mindful practices of lay people. Ultimately, renunciation serves as a means to overcome attachment and craving, leading to liberation from samsara and the attainment of enlightenment. Through renunciation, practitioners cultivate wisdom and compassion, ultimately moving closer to the goal of nirvana. From our explanation above, the monastic staff is more than a physical object. It's a rich symbol embedded with layers of meaning within the Buddhist tradition. From its historical roots as a simple walking staff to its complex representation of renunciation, authority, and compassion, the monastic staff serves as a powerful reminder of the Buddhist path, its role in monastic practices, and its impact in ritual and art further underscores its significance in the ongoing practice and transmission of Buddhism. The monastic staff exemplifies the intersection of the practical utility and deep spiritual meaning in Buddhism. Its enduring presence in Buddhist traditions across cultures highlights its importance as a symbol of monastic life and the spiritual journey towards enlightenment. Today, we have talked about the monastic staff, their iconography, their role in Buddhist cosmology, their devotional practices, and significance. If you have liked this episode, please write to me at awake.star.sky@gmail.com. Tell me what you have enjoyed and what you would like to see more of. You can also submit artwork that you want me to comment about. Thank you.